Shalom. All glory, praise, and honor to Ahaya, Bashem, Hamashiach, Yeshai. This is your brother Shema coming at you on the first day of a holy feast, the Feast of the Tabernacles, the Feast of Ingathering. So we're going to go over this right quick. 7-day feast, the origin, and the revelation through Hamashiach, Yeshai. And if it be the will of the Most High, we keep this feast 7 days unto him, alright? We started in Exodus chapter 23, verse 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Verse 15. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before Ahaya thy power. So it's the ordinance, there's more than 3 feasts, but the most I said 3 times a year, all the men guaranteed gotta come to the place where the Most High chose to put his name, which is Mount Zion, Jerusalem, and the temple. They had to come keep this feast, alright? Now, this is not saying women don't have to keep the feast, but you got to understand, sometimes if a woman is going through her menstruation, her period, she's unclean, so she can't come into the congregation. Or she just had a baby. If it's for a male, I think it's for a male, she's unclean. I think it's 41 days. And if it's a female, she's unclean 82 days. Okay? So this goes according to in the book of Jubilees, where the Most High made Adam and brought him into the garden after 3 weeks. And then he made Eve and brought her into the garden after 6 weeks. And so there's a difference, with male and female dealing with the Most High. As you see right here, it says, all your men shall appear before the Most High 3 times in a year. So, this is something that the men had to do during Israel to make sure they was there. Guaranteed, right? Now, let's go to Leviticus 23 and break down a little bit more the Feast of the Tabernacles. Alright, Leviticus chapter 23, and we start in verse 33. And Ahia spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto Ahia. So right now, according to the Gregorian calendar, we're on the 15th day of the 7th month. That is going to be a feast unto the Most High. I think it's Caslu, right? Same month, Caslu. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So today, even though it's first day, Sunday, it is kept as a Sabbath because it is a holy convocation. It is the first day of the feast. So all the rules of the Sabbath, no buying, no selling, no carrying out, no sleeping with your wife, no traveling unless you're going to gather with brethren to keep this feast. But you can cook because it is a feast day. So kindling the fire is okay as far as cooking, right? That's the only manner of work you can do. 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Ahia. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Ahia. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. So we're saying 8th day because yesterday being the Sabbath, going into it, sundown, that's the Sabbath, and then it's going to go all the way to the next Sabbath. Now, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is on the 15th day, but this is just the way they word it, to let you know all these days are days of feasting, because the Sabbath day is a feast day as well, right? Tell you that in the same chapter in verse 3 and 4, verse 3. So, verse 37, These are the feasts of Ahia, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Ahia, a burnt offering, a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offering, everything upon his day. besides the Sabbaths of Ahiah, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vows, and besides all your free will offerings, which ye give unto Ahiah. So understand, y'all, us being the temple, there's sacrifices that we have to give according to the sacrifices that were required in the old temple. This is how you fully get the revelation of what it means to be the temple. Okay, our bodies tell you our bodies is the temple of the Most High. All right, so you look at everything that was required in the old temple, and they tell you what's required in you as your temple, in your body being a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12, holy and acceptable unto the Most High. Right. Verse 39. Also on the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Ahiah 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Right? Verse 40. Ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and the willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before Ahiah your power 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto Ahiah 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelite born shall dwell in booths. So during these 7 days, we're supposed to dwell in booths, tents, right? And it's a reason he wants us to do this, right? For 7 days, you dwell in the booth, you sleep in the booth, everything in the booth, right? Verse 43, that your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am high your power. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Most High. So the reason we dwell in the booths is because he wants us to remind us of how our forefathers dwelled in booths when we came out of Egypt, and also to help us be in the mindset and the rhythm of that, because that's the way our life is going to be. Those that are blessed to make it to the wilderness, to be protected from the perils and the dangers that's coming up on the earth, he wants you to already be having a smooth transition into that, because you've already been doing it year to year, right? It's a perpetual feast to happen continually, right? Now we go back to Exodus 34. We'll read a little more on the feast. Exodus 34, 22. Thrice in the year shall all your men, children appear before a higher power, the power of Israel. Right? So just reiterating that we're supposed to come before the Most High. Right? Verse 22, I read 23 first. Verse 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of the weeks of the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the feast of men gathering at the year's end. So this is just reiterating all three of the feasts. Okay, you got the verse 21. In 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest. In earning time and in harvest thou shalt rest. Thou shalt observe the feast of weeks of the first of the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. Thrice in the year shall all your man children appear before a higher power, the power of Israel. So it's guaranteed, all the men, we got to make sure we do this, right? Rear up that tent and gather together. Now, of course, we just coming back into the knowledge and the wisdom, truth of this is who we are, and we're coming into these laws. So understand, because we haven't been doing it doesn't mean we can't get back on track. Right? We read about how children of Israel brought out of Babylonian captivity under Nehemiah, and how he got them back on track, right? So this is Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 13. And on the 2nd day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the words of the law. And they found written in the law, which Ahiah had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month. This is the feast of ingathering. And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go forth unto the mount, and fetch olive branches, and pine branches, and myrtle branches, and palm branches, and the branches of thick trees, to make booths, as it is written. So, They made their booths out of the branches and leaves. This is what we read Leviticus 23. I said, grab all these boughs, these willow trees, all this, and this is how they made their booths. So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, every one upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of Ahiah, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim. So understand, you can put this booth, this tent, right outside your door, right in your backyard. Okay, that's how I used to keep it when I just moved. Well, I used to keep it. I used to put it right in front of my right in front of my house, right there on the grass. Okay, so you have it in the street, wherever, where the Most High direct your spirit, to put the tent, put it right there, and you good. And all the congregation of them that were come again out of captivity made booths and sat under the booths. For since the days of Joshua the son of Nun unto that day had not the children of Israel done so, and there was very great gladness. So we coming back into understanding. A lot of us ain't know about this, and now we coming back into the knowledge of the truth, and we keeping the feast of the booths, feast of the tabernacles. Verse 18, also day by day, from the first day unto the last day, he read in the book of the law of Ahiah, and they kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day was a solemn assembly according unto the manner. So, the 7 days when you're in the booth, you're supposed to read the whole law, right? Let's get that right now. Deuteronomy 31, supposed to read the whole law. Now, this is saying they are reading in the book of the law, which is all good. But there is a commandment according to the year of Jubilee to read the whole law during the Feast of Tabernacles. That's what we're going to read right now. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 10. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of the Tabernacles. So this is the Feast of the Tabernacles during the year of Jubilee. Okay, only during the year of Jubilee. When all Israel is come to appear before Ahiah thy power in the place which he shall choose, which is Zion, thou shalt read this book before all Israel in their hearing. So every year of Jubilee, during the Feast of Tabernacle, you got to read the whole book of the law. Now, of course, we don't have the time 100% as far as what year is the year of Jubilee. So out of fear and trembling, we read the book of the law every Feast of the Tabernacle. Right? To make sure we get in the right year. The enemy not finna shut it down to where we don't do it. We just gonna read it every year. Right? Verse 12, gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear, that they may learn, and fear Ahiah your power, and observe to do all the works of this law, and that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn to fear Ahiah your power, as long as ye live in the land whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. So, this is an excellent time, it's a commandment, and it's also an excellent time to sit down, ain't no distractions, y'all in the booth, dwelling in the tent, and you're reading the law, teaching your children, and showing them the history, the heritage, the establishment, the ordinance, the origin of the promises, the children of Israel, and the laws, right? We do it all during this time, right? Now, Hamashiach Yeshai, did he keep the Feast of Tabernacles? Well, let's see. This is St. John, chapter 7, and verse 1. After these things, Yeshai walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. All right, so this is the Pharisees, the Sadducees, okay, that were suddenly killing him, and he wasn't trying to be all in the mix, using wisdom. Verse 2, now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand, so the Feast of Tabernacles coming up. Verse 3, his brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him. So they was kind of provoking him, like, man, what's up, man? Go on over there and let them see you, man. Ain't nobody, that's prestigious and famous doing these works on the low for them to be giving glory to themselves. Go out there to Judea to keep the feast. Verse 6, then Yeshua said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. So it's like, all right, you trying to tell me what to do, but best believe your time is coming. So chill out telling me what to do. Verse 7, the world cannot hate you, but me it hated, because I testified of it, that the works thereof are evil. So they banging on me down there right now. You know, you don't even know the situation, because I'm checking them according to righteousness and truth. So don't tell me what to do. Verse 8, go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. So is it saying, oh, he didn't keep the law? No, we're going to read a little more. When he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. Verse 10, but when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. So Yeshai, knowing that they wanted to kill him, he not going to be, unwise and go out in the mix in front of everybody. He went according to the law to the feast to appear before the Most High as a man, right? And keep the feast of the Tabernacles. He went up. And so then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him, for some say he is a good man, others say nay, but he deceiveth the people. Howbeit no man spake openly of him for the fear of the Jews. So they was looking for him when he got there, so he knew what he was doing, right? Now, it said when he went down there, we'll go down, it's a 7-day feast. Let's go all the way, let's go over to the end. Let's see. It says, same chapter says, verse 32, and the Pharisees heard that the people murmured such things concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then Yeshua said unto them, yet a little while I am with you, and then I go with unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me, and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? So he was teaching them, said he went to the temple and taught them during the Feast of the Tabernacles. After a while, he's like, man, I'm finna go up in here and start teaching my people, whatever. So then the Pharisees found out where he was, and they started trying to get at him, trying to trick him, right? Verse 36, what manner of saying is this that he said, ye shall seek me and shall not find me, and where am I, thither he cannot come? In the last day, that great day of the feast, so Yeshua stayed there the whole feast. See that? He came in secretly and able to stay there through the whole 7 days. So it says right here, in the last day, that great day of the feast, which is the Sabbath, Yeshua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. So glory to the Most High. Yeshua started preaching and teaching. And that's a powerful scripture he said right there, because we need to believe on him as it is written in the scripture. The scripture says that he is, he has white woolly hair, and his eyes are the flame of fire, and that his skin was his feet was the color as fine brass, as if it burned in a furnace. You gotta believe on him as that is written, or your faith in him is not a true faith. It's in something else. We can't fashion the way we want to believe in the Most High Son. We got to believe in him as it's written. So yes, it matters. And the Father let it be put in his book, the description of the Messiah, because he knew there was going to be a false Christ image put out. So everything that you believe on Yeshua has to be as it was written, or that's not a true faith in him. Simple as that. So let's go to Ezekiel. Because mind you, this feast is to help to prepare us for this time in the wilderness. Most High willing that we'll be able to, those that are able to go, to endure, so they don't have to endure all the things that are going on in our temptation. So this is Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, said the Most High Power. So, same way our forefathers dwelt in Egypt, dwelt in the wilderness when they came out of Egypt in booths. This is preparing you for when he's going to gather us out of all these nations that he's gathered us and bring us into the wilderness again, and he's going to plead with us face to face again when he gives us the new covenant. All this has a meaning, y'all. Now, will we be dwelling there safely? Yes, we will. Let's get that in Zechariah chapter 2. Zechariah chapter 2. And it says, we'll start at verse 4. It says, and in fact, we'll start at verse 1. I lift up mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Verse 2. Then said I, whither goest thou? And he said unto me, to measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. So he's measuring Israel that's being brought back from the sword. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him, and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle therein. So we're going to be in the wilderness as a town without no walls, right? With our cattle, for sacrifice, for eating, and we're going to be there without no walls for the multitude of men, right? Verse 5, for I, said the high, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Just like he was the glory in the midst of our forefathers in the wilderness when they came out of Egypt, he's going to be the glory in the midst of us again, right? We're going to be at the mountain, Mount Horeb. Okay, this is the mountain of the Most High. We're going to be at that mountain again, right? Being in the booths, right? Now let's go to Ezekiel, get some more of that. Same thing, precept on precept. We'll go to Ezekiel 38, and we'll start at 11. It says, and thou shalt say, so he's prophesying against Og and Magog, which are sons of Japhet, which are the Chinese or Asians as a whole. These are the Asians that are going to come against the nation of Israel in the last days when we're dwelling in the wilderness safely, if it be the will of the Most High. And he's saying to them, Japhet, Og and Magog, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, what we just read in Zechariah. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. So, that's how we're going to be living, if it be the will of the Most High, in the wilderness, being protected by the Most High, by his angels, as a wall of fire around us. Ain't nothing going to happen to us, dwelling safely at rest from the toils, from the drama, from the tribulation of the earth. We're going to be dwelling safely. Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. So, this is the dwelling place we're going to be, in booths, in tents, away from our temptation, safely, right? Now let's go to Exodus chapter 3. Because this is something else I want to show you to understand. This mountain, this wilderness, is a place that has always been used for people to talk with the Most High, get revelation from the Most High, get strength, seek the Most High, refuge. This is a place that's always been a place that people have ran to in the Bible, all right, to seek the Most High. This is the mountain of the Most High. It's always been, always will be the mountain of the Most High, all right. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. It says, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Ahiah, even to Horeb. So it's called Mount Horeb, right? This is the mountain. It's also called Mount Sinai. They try to, it's not to confuse you. Okay, but it's called Mount Sinai and it's called Mount Horeb. It's the same mountain, not the different mountains. Same mountain, right? And so let's go to Exodus 24 and see what Moses did at Mount Sinai, right? So, Exodus 24, verse 17, and the sight of the glory of Ahiah was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. Verse 18, and Moses went into the midst of the cloud and gat him up into the mount, and Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. So we know he went up there 40 days, 40 nights, got the law, statutes, and commandments from the Most High, right? Now, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 7. 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 7. It says, "And the angel of Ahiah came again the second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee." So this is talking about Elijah. In verse 8, "And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mountain of the Most High." So wow, we got another man going to the wilderness, because the mountain is in the wilderness, seeking and dealing with the Most High for 40 days and 40 nights, just like Moses did, right? So this should be making some light bulbs go off in your head about this landmass, and also showing you actually about Yeshai. Should be telling you what he did too. More importantly, telling you where he was at. Let's go there and read that. All right, Matthew chapter 4. And it, of course, is not. This is why precept upon precept, you learn the things that aren't written too much in detail in the New Testament, because you know about this history in the Old Testament. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. "Then was Yeshai led up of the Spirit into the wilderness." We know that's Kadesh Barnea. We know that's where the mountain of the Most High is. "To be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered." So where did Yeshai go to fast? He went to fast in the mountain of the Most High, where his father was at. How do we know that? Precept on precept tells you. Moses went over there. Elijah went over there, right? Let's get a little more. Right? This is Matthew chapter 17, right? "And after 6 days, Yeshai taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias," which is Elijah, "talking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto Yeshai, Master, is it good for us to be here? If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elias." So Peter was perceiving all these 3 are important people right here, man. We should make a tabernacle for all 3, because Moses is a representation of the law. Elijah is a representation of the prophets, right? And Yeshua is a representation of the salvation, and how we can achieve perfection and keeping the law through believing on him through faith of his death and resurrection. So, let's make a tabernacle for all 3 of y'all, man. Y'all all important. Okay, let's see what happened. "While yet he spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. And Yeshua came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lift up their eyes, they saw no man save Yeshua." So this was Ahiah giving his people, namely Peter, James, John, the understanding that yes, Moses is old and great and renowned. So was Elijah. But this one right here I'm sending you, this is my son, and you listen to what he tell you to do. Right? This is the one you're going to follow. All those are great, but this is the one that you got to follow. This one is my son. Right? We get one more in Esdras, because Esdras was there too. 2nd Esdras chapter 2. Let me see, verse 33. 2nd Esdras 2 and verse 33 says, "I, Esdras, received a charge of Ahiah upon the Mount Oreb, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of Ahiah." Right? So, this is another man, prophet, that went before the Most High at his mountain, and received instruction. If you know about him, he was up there fasting. He fasted for 3 weeks for 7 days straight. And then he fasts one of the weeks. Then he fasts for 3 days and only ate flowers of the field. Right? And then at the end, We're going to see if he had any type of 40-day situation going on, right? We'll go to chapter 14, and we're going to read what else happened with Esdras up there. And it says, 2nd Esdras, chapter 14. Let's see, where should we start? Let's start at start 36. Let no man therefore come unto me now, nor seek after me these 40 days. Right? So he was giving a warning. Look, I'm finna go up here, man. Don't come at me, because he was, always, the people always seeking him. Like, man, what the most I say? You ain't teaching us. I want y'all to show me what's up, man. Why you keep leaving us going up here? They were doing this to him when he was fasting for them 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 3 days. So say right here, So I took the 5 in as he commanded me, and went into the field and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Esdras, open thy mouth and drink, that I might give thee to drink. Then opened I my mouth, and behold, he reached me a cup full, which was full as it were with water, but the color of it was like fire. And I took it and drank. And when I had drunk it, my heart utter understanding and wisdom, and grew in my breast, for my spirit strengthened my memory, and my mouth was open and shut no more. The highest gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that were told, which they knew not. And they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread. As for me, I spake in the day, and my tongue, and held not my tongue by night. So we talking all day, all night, for 40 days and 40 nights. And in 40 days they wrote 204 books. And it came to pass, when the 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest spake, saying, the first that thou hast written and published openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it, but keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the streams of knowledge. And I did so. So, of course, he wasn't in the mountain when he got these understanding, when he drank the glass of fire, okay, that gave him wisdom, which was the Holy Ghost. And but it's according to the standard and time frame of the Most High dealing with people in Horeb. He was at Horeb, okay, and then once he got the understanding from the Most High, told him to go get the guys. Matter of fact, let me just read that part so y'all know, okay. It says, okay, verse 23 of the same chapter. This is 2nd Esdras 14, verse 23. And he answered me, saying, Go thy way, gather the people together, and say unto them that they seek thee not for 40 days. But look, thou prepare thee many box trees, and take with thee Saria, Dabria, Salimia, Icanus, and Aziel, these 5 which are ready to write swiftly, and come hither, and I shall light a candle of understanding in thine heart, which shall not be put out till the things be performed which thou shalt begin to write. So he got the instruction to do what they told him to do. He got the instruction to do what he was told to do from the Most High. Then he came down in the field and sent the other people away, gathered the 5, and they wrote down what the Most High gave him to write by the Spirit of the Kodesh Ruach for 40 days and 40 nights. So understand, y'all, it's feast, silent feast. Today, today is the first day, which is a Sabbath, and again, I'm glory to the Most High, able to provide for myself and my family by being an essential worker. But we fear the Most High, and so we're not going to work today, and enough money in the world for me to go to work on a Sabbath day, on a holy day of the Most High. Okay, we're going to do what the Most High say. We're not going to regard silver or gold or anything of this world, right? And so today first day is the Holy Convocation, and the last day, which is going to be on the Sabbath, is going to be Holy Convocation. This is the last feast of a 7 holy day feast month. This is our holiest month of the year, so I just encourage y'all, Israel, try your best to keep this feast. Read the whole book of the law, you know what I'm saying? Teach your children, you know what I'm saying? And get in this Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, so we can, be obedient to the Most High and be ready. Because after this, everything's about to ramp up. The enemy can't do nothing, He's not going to do nothing during the time, of our holy days. And when the holy days is over, he's going to start trying to do what he got to do, right? So, understand, y'all. Seek the Most High during this feast, make sure he pray you for that he give you the understanding. Let him show you what's good. So we're going to need to have direction in these directions. If you don't have the direction by now, you're going to want to have direction coming up here because they got this market to be situation about to start ramping up and everything, right? Let me give you some more. Okay, so we're reading right now, Luke. There's a lot of signs going on right now. Luke, right? In fact, let me see. What's in Matthew? I'll read this right here in Luke. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations and perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So we just had an earthquake last night. If it wasn't last night, it was Sabbath night. It was an earthquake. You know what I'm saying? In fact, we can read about that. That's Isaiah 29. Which these things are happening, man. On the real, this stuff is happening. Most High is visiting the earth. Signs are right in front of our face, y'all. I pray, man, that y'all see these signs, man. And you know what? Whatever I got going on, that junk is not important, man. I need to start doing what the Most High say right away, right? This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of a higher of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise and with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. We in California, the whole West Coast on fire, y'all. This stuff is not just some random, it's in common. It just happened to happen. This is the Most High's judgment going down. Okay? Says it very clearly. The tempest and the flame of the devouring fire. This is happening. And these fires are different. These fires have been different the last couple years out here in Cali. They have never been this way. Okay, this is the Most High. We're not going to subscribe this to nobody else. This is all to the glory of the Most High. He doing this. Okay? You got to understand, it's a judgment on this nation. This nation has touched the apple of the Most High's eye. There's no truth in this nation. They blaspheme the name of the Most High, and they make it easier to sin against the Most High than any other nation in the world. Okay? And there's going to be a judgment for that. All right? One more thing I want to bring out. This wilderness living as we in the Feast of Tabernacles, understanding how we're going to be living. The Most High is going to be providing for us in all things that we need when we're there in the wilderness. This is, well, I'll read in 2nd Esdras, or 2nd Esdras chapter 6. We're going to read, how our meat's going to be, because a part of the trials and the tribulations, the Most High said he's going to smite the seas in the third part of the ocean, and it's going to be turned to blood. Then he's going to smite the seas in the third part of it, and they're going to kill all the animals, all the fish that's in the sea. And so it's not going to be nowhere to really to fish, probably, but the Mediterranean Sea. All right? And we're going to see what we're going to get about the Mediterranean Sea when it's time for us to eat. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 52. Okay? Well, I'll start at 49. Then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, and one thou callest Enoch, which is Bohemeth, and the other Leviathan, and didst separate one from the other from the 7th part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch thou gavest one part which was dried up on the 3rd day. This is the dry land that the Most High separated from the waters on the 3rd day. Tell you that in Genesis chapter 1. That he should dwell in the same part wherein there are 1,000 hills. Verse 52. But unto Leviathan thou gavest the 7th part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt and when. So somebody's going to eat Leviathan. Somebody's going to devour him at a certain time and when. Now, let's get a little bit more understanding on who and when. This is Psalms chapter 74, verse 14. Start at 13. And thou didst divide the sea by thy strength, and Thou breakest the heads of the dragons of the waters. Thou breakest the head of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Yeah, y'all. We're gonna have a big fish fry, right? we're gonna broil him, okay? Because he got fins and scales. If you read about him, I think in Job chapter 39, talks about Leviathan in detail. He got fins and scales. He's a lawful creature of the waters to eat. We're going to eat him up. We're in the wilderness, y'all. We're going to have everything. We're going to be straight, right? Dwelling in booths. Well, we're going to have food, meat. We're going to have fruit, vegetables. We're going to have water. We're going to have the spirit of a higher dwelling with us. We're going to get the new covenant. We're going to get that stony heart replaced with a heart of truth, heart of righteousness, all right? Let's close out with that, the new covenant. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. Okay, for finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, saith Ahiah. This is Hebrews chapter 8 and 8. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, saith Ahiah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. House of Israel being the northern 10 tribes, and Judah being the southern kingdom of Judea. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Ahiah. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Ahiah. I will put my laws into their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. So, just as our forefathers got the covenant when they were in the wilderness, when they came out of Egypt, we're going to get the new covenant when we're in the wilderness, most high willing, as he gathered us out of all the nations that he scattered us, right? Verse 11, They shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Ahiah, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest. So this tell you we're still in the old covenant, because people are still walking around teaching the laws, the statutes, and commandments of the Most High, which tells you in 1 John chapter 2 and 3, that's the way that you know the Most High, because you keep his commandments. And if you don't keep his commandments and you claim that you know him, the Bible says you're a liar. Doesn't matter what any preacher or anybody says. Bible says you're a liar if you're not keeping his commandments. Simple, plain, and clear. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. In that, he said, a new covenant he hath made, the first old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. So that's when the old covenant is going to go away. When he give us the new, when he get us in the wilderness. All right. And just to read that 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. Verse 4. He that said, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So, this is not my words. This is what the word say. And we reading the word. We being the messengers of the Most High, showing you what his word say. Since it's not being read, like it should be by the leaders, the teachers, and the shepherds of the flocks these days. All right. So, all praise to the Most High. Ahia, Bashem Yeshai. Happy feast of the Tabernacles. Y'all be blessed. Keep praying. Keep seeking the Most High. And we almost at the end of these holy days. And hope you're ready to make a move. All right. Most High, Yeshai said, pray not your flight be on the Sabbath day or in the winter. All right. We just came into the fall season, the new moon. Okay. So understand. You don't want to wait too late. You don't want to wait till the winter to leave Babylon. This is what Yeshai said. Hearken, all right? Hearken, Israel. Kwam Yashala. Shalom.